want to tell you a little story about this little cafe that's down here. Here it is right here. Now we're in this incredible building, and we have this incredible office here at Best Practice, which I'll take you for a walk, and we'll go and have a look around in a minute. But I wanted to tell you a story about this cafe. Now, the business has recently changed hands, and today I'm driving to work and I've got a ton on my plate and a ton on my agenda. But what's happened with this particular business is last week we sent some team members down there. It's just changed hands, new owners. The old owner's there. We've been in this building for a few years now, and I became friends with the old owner. He sold the business, he's moved on, and the new owners have taken on. And look, if you look down there now, it's lunchtime here. It should be a roaring trade. Should be an absolutely roaring trade. Everybody getting on board with the lunch break, going out and enjoying this beautiful balcony down here that's out in the sunshine. It's the second day of spring here in Sydney, Australia, and I'm getting concerned. I'm getting concerned about this particular business. And I was driving to work this morning, chatting to a couple of people from the Best Practice Facebook group, the Best Practice Mastermind Facebook group, about this question of, do you take your own advice? And it's funny that you say this, because I've subsequently had a text message from a really good friend of mine who has sent me a message, and he said, look, your company was being discussed. I was at a conference last week. People were talking about best practice, and they were saying, you guys don't practice what you preach. So it's really funny that today's the day that we start talking about, do you take your own advice? And it's been a subject of the day. So I just thought that we could maybe have a conversation about that. And this particular cafe, I was driving down and I was like, okay, let's have a chat about, I've got to go into that cafe and I need them to do some stuff for me. And one of the things that I do need them to do is, we had a huge conference here at Best Practice last week. We had everybody here in our office come in. We've rolled out a new brand. We're doing some great stuff. I'll show you that brand now. This bestpractice.biz, that's us there, bestpractice.biz, and all of our other Best Practice brands. You can check that out. And we had this huge launch party here at Best Practice last week, where we had caterers, and the catering that we had for all of our team, 30 people here in the office. Last week, we had everybody here in our team, $2,000 worth of catering. Now that cafe, I'm getting rumors, like I'm asking my team, right, can we order the catering from the cafe? And the team were like, well, actually, no, I don't think we can. I don't think we can, because what's happening with our team there is that, what's happening with the cafe is that, it's stale, it's cold, the food doesn't look amazing, and we're just not sure we can use them. So anyway, long story short, we got some outside caterers. Now, this morning, I was like, I'm driving to work, and I'm like, okay, right. I was late for a meeting. I'm going to drive in. I'm going to talk to that cafe, and I'm going to give them some advice. Maybe talk to them about, hey, I need you guys to lift your game, because I need you to be someone who can really help our business, help our team. So I was going to go in there, and I was going to say, look, what's the 5-star version of the situation? You've got some incredible businesses here in this particular office complex, some really high profile businesses, and you're the cafe. I want this cafe to be a great place that my staff can go and my team can go and have lunch and get coffee in the morning. If they don't want to drink the amazing coffee that we've got here in our own kitchen in the Best Practice head office, is that something that they can do? So I'm just building up to basically go and speak to this cafe owner about, elevating to the 5-star version of the situation. So I'm driving to work thinking about this morning, and then I was like, I had a moment. I was like, a penny dropped, and I was like, holy shit. It's like, I should be taking my own advice. I should be taking my own advice. And that is that, and that is really the point of this particular video, is, do you take your own advice? Listen out for the times when you're saying, you think, what you should do, what you should do. And if you're saying that to people, if you're saying, what you should do, and you're giving advice to people and you're giving guidance to people. Now, these could be team members of yours that, you're a manager and they're part of your team. It could be, businesses that you're advising. It could be, within your family. It's actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. And really, I think it's important that rather than necessarily listening to what people say, watch what they do. Don't do what I say, do what I do, if that makes sense. Or there's that old adage, if you like. So I was like, holy shit. So I was like, all right, I'm listening to my own advice, and I'm thinking, I really need to go out and I need to ensure that I make a couple of really small changes today at Best Practice, so that we can improve the 5-star version of the situation that is our goal, because I'm not confident. Like I haven't cleaned my own house, and I'm going out to actually speak to somebody and say, hey, you know, I need you to be a better version of the situation that you currently are to support my team, like to support the guys here so we can use them for catering. But you know, that business at $2,000, you know, if they're missing out on $2,000 worth of catering every week, that's $100,000 a year. And you know, for a business, it's like a very small business, it's like 1 or 2 people. You know, they're missing out on a huge amount of opportunities. And I'm like, oh my God, there's the mirror. Like, if we are not the 5-star version of the situation, if you are not the 5-star version of the situation, and if you're not implementing your own advice, you know, you're missing out on opportunities. And I know that now. And so it was it was one of those moments for me this morning when I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, we're trying to improve every day, but I'm like, I'm concentrating on helping other people, and not so much, you know, being better at what we can do here for you guys from Best Practice. So really, you know, this post was really to ask you the question, are you taking your own advice? Are you doing the things that you're suggesting other people might do? And really put that mirror up in front of yourself. And so for me, it was like, okay, well, let me go and make a few changes and implement a few changes where we can improve the situation here at Best Practice this morning. And then maybe the reward is that I go down and I see the supplier. You know, they're one of our suppliers and I need our supplier to improve. But I'm going to improve what we're doing first rather than focus on improving our suppliers. I think if we improve our own operations here at Best Practice, we can have a much, much better impact on the impact of Best Practice than if we have, you know, one of our suppliers. And I think, you know, largely it's more important to be making the small changes. So I've come in, we've just had a 2-hour meeting. I've had a 2-hour meeting with my operations manager around some of the things that we can improve to improve the 5-star version or get towards the 5-star version of the situation for you guys with what we're doing here at Best Practice. Okay, so that's it from me. I just wanted to give you guys a small tip. You know, ask you the question, are you taking your own advice? And really be thinking about that, and really be thinking about, how can I demonstrate? How can I walk the talk? If you want to check out more of what we're doing here at Best Practice, check out bestpractice.biz. That's the new brand that we've launched. It still encompasses everything we're doing here at Best Practice and Best Practice TV. And if you know, I lightly touched on it, but if you are somebody who wants to really improve what you're doing as a manager, as a leader, as somebody in business, and actually start to, you know, get in and converse with like-minded individuals, then we've got a free Facebook group. It's the Best Practice Mastermind. It's free to join. There's lots of great free tips and tricks and posts, and there's a great group of people from around the world all interacting with each other and helping each other to be better managers. And that's not what this video is about. It's just that I touched on it. So you can go and search Facebook for the Best Practice Mastermind. There's 3 questions. You'll be asked 3 questions to join. Just answer them honestly. It's a survey, and then that'll give you access into that Best Practice Mastermind Facebook group. So I hope to see you there. You see me live. It's not so much a YouTube video like this one where you might be seeing it after the time, but yeah, absolutely fantastic. So I welcome you into that Facebook group. But check out bestpractice.biz. That's everything we're doing here at Best Practice to help inspire improvement in 100 million companies. So my question to you, comment below for me. Do you take your own advice? Yes or no? Has this video been helpful for you? If it hasn't been helpful and you didn't like it, then tell me. Give me your honest opinion. If it's something that you didn't like and you don't, you know, it's advice that hasn't really helped you or it can't really help you, let me know. But if it is something that can help you and there is something that you can implement, comment below. Let me know what you're going to change, what you're going to do. Let me know one small thing that you can improve, that you've been thinking about improving. So are you taking your own advice? I hope to see you soon.